When a child is born into this world, we look at the date, the time, the place, and somehow we begin to form conclusions. We think, this child was born on such a date, under such a star, therefore his life will be like this. In many cultures, entire maps of destiny are drawn simply based on the moment of birth. But if you truly pay attention to the mechanics of life, you will realize your birth date is only a reflection of certain possibilities, not a fixed destiny. It is a starting point, not a final script. The stars and planets can indicate the tendencies present at the time of your arrival, but they do not imprison you. Life is not a pre-written drama where you are merely an actor following a fixed script. Life is a phenomenon where you are both the actor and the writer. The conditions at your birth create a certain climate, a certain flavor, but they do not define you in totality. Your karma, the accumulation of impressions, actions, and tendencies, is far more influential than the position of the planets on your birthday. Even if you are born under what is called an inauspicious time, it simply means you have certain challenges or energies to deal with. It does not mean you are doomed to suffer or fail. Many times people come to me asking for a solution, saying, "Sadghuru, I was born under a bad star. My horoscope is not favorable." They carry this burden their entire lives, believing they are somehow handicapped by the time of their birth. This is a deep misunderstanding. The date of your birth is like the terrain you start your journey on. Some may begin in a valley, others on a mountain. Some may start with sunshine, others with rain. But whether you reach the mountaintop or get lost in the woods depends on your own clarity, commitment, and consciousness, not merely the date you were born. If you understand this deeply, you will stop blaming the stars and start harnessing your own capabilities. You will see that the birth date only points to a certain momentum of energies. It is like the weather report on the day you begin a long voyage. If it says stormy, you prepare yourself. If it says sunny, you don't become complacent. Either way, the journey is still yours to make. The way you respond, the way you adapt, the way you push forward, that is what determines your life experience. People who are caught up with astrology without understanding karma are like passengers refusing to steer their own ship because they fear the waves. Astrology, when understood rightly, is a tool for awareness, not for helplessness. It tells you today the winds are strong, so sail wisely. It doesn't say, stay locked in your cabin forever. Your birth date offers a glimpse into the starting conditions, but it is karma, your conscious action, that navigates you through the vast ocean of life. Moreover, karma itself is not rigid, it is dynamic. At every moment, depending on your awareness, you can change the course of your karma. You can create new imprints, dissolve old ones, and move in a direction you consciously choose. So, to live thinking your birth date has decided your happiness, your health, your success, or your failure is like sitting in a powerful car with the engine running and refusing to touch the steering wheel because someone told you the road is rough. Life doesn't work like that. If you merely exist reacting to the influences indicated by your birth date, you are missing the grandeur of being human. Unlike other creatures, you have the capacity to be conscious. A tree must follow the seasons, an animal must follow its instincts, but a human being, if he is willing, can step beyond instinct, beyond tendencies, beyond the mechanical pull of planetary forces. You are capable of living by conscious choice, not by compulsive patterns. In the yogic sciences, it is clearly said, the stars are only a mirror of what you are, not the maker of what you are. They reflect the karmic structure you carry, but they don't impose anything new upon you. This reflection can be useful if you are willing to look at it dispassionately. It can help you understand the energies you are handling, much like a doctor uses an X-ray to see inside the body. But you would not decide your entire future just because of an X-ray image, would you? You would use it to take necessary actions, to heal, to strengthen, to grow. When we speak of karma, most people immediately think of it as some kind of cosmic punishment or reward system. This misunderstanding has kept humanity in unnecessary fear and confusion for thousands of years. Karma is not a judge sitting somewhere in the clouds, keeping track of your good and bad deeds to decide your fate. Karma is your own unconscious creation. It is the residue of actions, intentions, and emotions that you have accumulated over lifetimes, and it continues to shape the way you experience life today. You are not being rewarded or punished by someone else. You are simply living in the echo of your own energies. Everything that you experience as yourself, your body, your mind, your emotions is a certain compilation of memory. Your body is just the memory of evolutionary processes. Your mind is the memory of what you have perceived and stored. Your emotions are the memory of the many impressions that have touched you. Karma is just another dimension of memory. When memory is unconscious, it becomes the invisible hand that directs your life without your consent. When memory is conscious, it becomes a tool for liberation rather than bondage. So karma is not about morality, it is about memory. Suppose you walk into a garden with your eyes closed, and you trip over a rock. Would you say the rock is punishing you? No, you were simply unaware. Similarly, when karma plays out in your life, it is not because life is trying to punish you. It is because you are unconscious of the karmic imprints you carry. If you live with awareness, karma becomes a roadmap. If you live without awareness, karma becomes a chain. Whether it is a ladder or a prison is your choice. Every thought you generate, every emotion you create, every action you perform leaves a subtle residue within you. Over time, this residue builds a certain momentum, a certain tendency to act and react in predictable ways. This is karma. It is not sitting somewhere else waiting to fall on your head. It is right here operating within you, around you, through you. It is like a groove on a record. Unless you consciously lift the needle, the music will keep playing in the same loop. Most human beings are trapped in such grooves, endlessly repeating the same patterns in different forms, believing they are victims of fate, when in truth, they are victims of their own unconscious patterns. In this sense, your birth date, your astrological chart, they only point to the grooves already present in your karmic record. They indicate the momentum you are carrying when you entered this lifetime, but they do not decide your final destination. Imagine you are rolling a ball on a surface. The direction and speed with which it is rolling is karma, but if you are conscious, you can apply a force and change its direction at any moment. You are not a slave to the initial push. Those who blame karma for their current conditions are like a man who plants a mango seed and cries when it does not produce apples. Karma is simply bearing the fruit of what has been sown, knowingly or unknowingly. If you do not like the fruit, the wise thing is not to curse the tree, but to learn how to plant differently. It is through conscious living that new karmas are created, new impressions, new actions, new possibilities are opened up. Every breath, every step, every moment offers an opportunity to rewrite the pattern. The beauty of human life is that even though we are the product of past actions, we are not prisoners of them. We have the capability to bring awareness to our tendencies and transform them. Karma is like the software running in the background. It influences the way you think, feel, and act. But if you become the coder instead of the code, you can reprogram your life. This is the power and privilege of being human. Animals live largely by instinct. Their karmic patterns are strong and difficult to alter. Humans have the unique ability to become conscious, to act out of choice rather than compulsion. When people say, "It is my karma," it should not be an expression of helplessness. It should be an acknowledgement of responsibility. Yes, this is my karma, and because it is mine, I have the power to change it. Taking ownership of your karma is the first step toward true freedom. Blaming fate, stars, gods, or other people is like handing over the steering wheel of your life to someone else. Karma is your own making. Life is your own making. Destiny is your own making. The moment you recognize this, you will stop looking outward for solutions. You will start turning inward. You will see that the roots of all experience is joy or misery, success or failure, love or hatred are planted within you. If you want a different harvest, you must cultivate your inner field differently in the vast expanse of existence. Time moves like a mighty river, and we are but small boats floating upon it. Some believe that the specific moment when they are born carries an imprint so powerful that it decides everything about their life. They cling to the idea that the numbers assigned to their birth, the day, the month, the year, are not just markers of time but determining forces of fate. But if you observe life carefully, you will realize that numbers and time can only indicate certain tendencies, not conclusions. They are signposts, not chains. They offer hints, not final verdicts. Your birth date may reveal the kind of energies that were prevalent when you entered this realm. Just like weather patterns can be predicted based on the season, certain psychological and energetic tendencies can be mapped based on the cosmic alignments at your time of birth. But to assume that these alignments have the power to dictate your entire life is to strip yourself of the profound possibility of being human. Unlike mechanical beings that operate solely based on preset programming, you have the capacity for awareness, the ability to transcend tendencies and shape your own reality. Imagine you are walking through a landscape. The map you carry in your hand may show mountains, rivers, forests, and deserts. It may indicate that the path ahead is steep or smooth. But how you walk, how you prepare, and whether you even choose to stay on the path shown or forge a new one altogether is entirely up to you. Similarly, the numbers and patterns associated with your birth can suggest certain initial conditions, but they cannot decide your spirit, your will, your determination. When people lean too heavily on astrology, numerology, or other systems of prediction, they often fall into a subtle form of slavery. They begin to live by expectation rather than exploration. They start to fit themselves into the boxes that others have designed for them based on numbers and dates. In doing so, they lose the vitality and adventure that life naturally holds. They forget that life is a possibility to be realized, not a formula to be followed. Numbers can influence, but they cannot command. They can indicate weather conditions, but they cannot stop you from flying if you have wings strong enough. At the time of your birth, the celestial alignments created certain energetic conditions. These conditions can influence your body, your mind, your emotions to a certain extent, but it is a subtle influence, not an absolute decree. A strong breeze can push a boat slightly off course, but a skilled sailor can always adjust the sails and reach his destination. Similarly, awareness acts as the hand upon the sail of your life. The more aware you become, the less you are blown about by external forces, and the more you direct your own journey. In ancient traditions, wise beings used birth charts not to predict an inescapable future, but to understand the tools and challenges an individual was equipped with. It was never about saying, "This is what will happen," but about saying, "Given these tendencies, this is where extra attention is needed." It was a map for conscious living, not a prison of fatalism. Those who understood this approached life with courage and clarity. Those who misunderstood became fearful and fatalistic. If you are born with a tendency towards anger, it does not mean you are destined to live a life of conflict. It simply means you must bring greater awareness to this area of your life. If you are born under an alignment that favors creativity, it does not mean success will fall into your lap without effort. It means you have a fertile field, but you must still till the soil, plant the seeds, and nurture the crop. Without your active participation, even the best conditions will not yield fruit. The stars do not bind you, the numbers do not imprison you, they merely whisper hints in your ear about the journey ahead. If you are awake, you will listen, prepare, and still choose your own path. If you are asleep, you will stumble blindly, blaming the stars for every fall. Your destiny is not written in the heavens, it is written in the depth of your consciousness and the intensity of your action. Those who live with this understanding walk through life with a certain grace and strength. They know that while the river of time flows ceaselessly, the direction of their boat is still in their own hands. Life is not a mechanical unfolding of a predetermined script. It is a dynamic dance between your inner possibilities and the outer influences. Birth dates, astrological signs, numbers, all these are part of the outer scenery. But the real drama, the real adventure, is happening within you. If you pay attention inward, you will find the power to mold, to shape, to create beyond all predictions. Awareness is the master key that unlocks the doors of karma. Without awareness, you are simply a creature of habit, endlessly repeating the same cycles of action and reaction, birth and death. But with awareness, you can see the very roots of your actions and begin to choose differently. Whatever karmic patterns you were born with, they are not a life sentence, they are simply a foundation. Whether you build a hut or a palace on that foundation depends entirely on the quality of your awareness. Many people assume that karma is a punishment they must endure, a heavy burden they are forced to carry. This is because they live mechanically, reacting to life rather than responding consciously. In every reaction, the past is repeating itself. Every time you react without awareness, you are simply reinforcing old karmic patterns. But if you bring even a moment of genuine awareness into your life, you create a distance between yourself and the pattern. You are no longer a puppet dancing to the strings of memory. You are a being capable of shaping your own destiny. Awareness is not about thinking more. It is not about analyzing your past endlessly. Awareness is simply the ability to see things as they are without distortion. When you see your own thoughts, emotions, and compulsions clearly, without judgment or resistance, you are no longer trapped by them. They may still exist for a time, but they no longer have the same power over you. The patterns weaken, the grooves smooth out, and new possibilities open up. Karma is not destroyed by violence or denial. It is dissolved through the simple, profound act of conscious seeing. Suppose you have a tendency towards fear, deeply ingrained from past experiences. If you live unconsciously, every situation that triggers fear will reinforce it, deepen it, make it a permanent part of your being. But if you bring awareness to the moment fear arises, if you simply observe it without being swept away by it, you will find that fear begins to lose its grip on you. Slowly, the karmic pattern of fear disintegrates, not through struggle, but through the light of awareness. Awareness is like the sun. When it rises, the darkness of karma naturally begins to dissolve. People often ask, can karma be erased instantly? In theory, yes. If you can bring total awareness to every aspect of yourself, if you can see every impression, every tendency, every ripple within you without any distortion, karma would lose its hold in a moment. But in practice, this level of awareness is rare. It usually happens gradually, like the melting of ice in the warmth of the sun. Each moment of awareness weakens the karmic structure. Each conscious choice loosens the knots of the past. Over time, what once seemed like a solid wall becomes a doorway to freedom. Without awareness, life is like running on a treadmill, expending energy but going nowhere. You may think you are moving, achieving, progressing, but inside, the same karmic loops keep playing. With awareness, even a single step becomes transformative. You are no longer moving in circles. You are moving towards liberation. Awareness gives you the ability to respond rather than react. It gives you the space to choose your action rather than being a slave to past conditioning. It is this choice, this conscious action, that creates new karma or no karma at all. The more aware you become, the less you are bound by external circumstances. Whether you are born into favorable conditions or challenging ones, you begin to see them simply as situations to respond to, not as definitions of who you are. A person with awareness can turn even the most difficult karmic inheritance into a tool for growth. Without awareness, even the most favorable birth date, the best planetary alignment, the most fortunate conditions will be wasted. It is not what you are given, but what you make of it, that determines the quality of your life. In the yogic sciences, it is said that awareness is fire. Just as fire burns everything it touches, awareness burns away karmic residues. Every moment you are conscious, you are burning the past and creating the future with greater clarity. Every unconscious moment, you are merely recycling the past, decorating the same prison cell over and over again. This is why awareness is not just a tool, it is the essence of liberation. It is not a luxury, it is the very breath of true living. You cannot fight karma with more karma. You cannot erase darkness by throwing stones at it. Only the light of awareness can dissolve the patterns that bind you. Awareness does not mean you will never face difficulties. It means that whatever arises, you meet it fully, consciously, without falling into unconscious reactions. In that meeting, karma loses its power. You are no longer a product of circumstances. You become the creator of your experience when you were born, the date, the time, the position of the planets. All of these things created a certain energetic blueprint. It is much like the initial conditions of a seed planted in a particular soil under specific climatic conditions. The seed carries its own potential, but the soil and the climate will influence how it sprouts, how it grows, and what challenges it will face. Your birth date is a reflection of the energetic soil into which you were born, but it is not the final statement about what kind of tree you must become. The potential to grow beyond those initial conditions lies entirely within you. Most people never question the influence of their birth date because they are deeply entangled with the external world. They believe that their life is merely a series of reactions to the circumstances they encounter. When you live only by reaction, the blueprint given at your birth becomes a kind of unconscious programming. You move through life repeating similar patterns, making the same mistakes, feeling the same emotions, not because you are destined to do so, but because you have not taken the effort to rise above the initial setup. In yogic culture, the emphasis has always been on transcending the compulsions of birth, not worshipping them. To be born at a certain time may create a particular tendency, but that tendency is not a cage unless you choose to sit within it. Life is not about avoiding tendencies or pretending they do not exist. It is about seeing them clearly and choosing consciously whether you want to go with them or go beyond them. If you were born under a configuration that suggests emotional volatility, it is not a curse. It is simply a signal that greater attention is needed in how you handle your inner world. It is a call for deeper maturity, not a prediction of inevitable suffering. Your karma and your awareness decide whether the tendencies indicated by your birth date become stepping stones or stumbling blocks. Without awareness, the forces indicated at your birth will keep pulling you into the same grooves of thought, emotion, and behavior. With awareness, you can use these same forces to sharpen your intelligence, deepen your compassion, heighten your perception. A person who knows how to ride a strong wave will travel faster than one who simply fears being swept away. Your birth date also carries a certain vibrational quality. Numbers are not just symbols created for convenience, they are manifestations of deeper realities. Each number carries a certain frequency. When you were born, the numbers associated with your date, month, and year became part of your energetic fingerprint. These frequencies can influence the way you interact with the world, the kind of experiences you attract, the types of challenges and opportunities that come your way. But again, influence is not the same as control. It is like sitting in a room where a certain kind of music is playing. You may feel moved by it, you may dance to it, or you may choose to create your own rhythm. The music is there, but the dance is yours to decide. Understanding the vibrations associated with your birth date can be useful, not as a tool for resignation, but as a tool for empowerment. If you know that your birth carries a strong fiery energy, you can channel that fire into passion and creativity rather than letting it consume you in anger and restlessness. If your numbers suggest a deep sensitivity, you can turn that sensitivity into empathy and profound connection rather than allowing it to become a source of constant hurt. Awareness transforms every influence into a possibility. Those who remain unconscious become victims of their birth conditions. They see patterns repeating in their lives and feel helpless against them. They believe they are cursed or blessed based on their date of birth, and they live either in fear or in complacency. But those who awaken even a little to the deeper dimensions of life see that the patterns are not chains but invitations, invitations to become more aware, more capable, more alive. Every influence can either enslave you or empower you depending on how you hold it. In this journey, it is important to remember that your ultimate nature is beyond numbers, beyond stars, beyond dates and times. The core of who you are is untouched by planetary movements and cosmic influences. That which you call yourself is pure, boundless, and free. The birth date belongs to the body, to the mind, to the personality. It does not touch the essential you. If you are rooted in this realization, you can play with the numbers, the energies, the tendencies without ever being trapped by them. Life becomes a playground, not a prison. When you look at life purely from the surface, it seems like a series of random events strung together by chance. But if you pay attention with a deeper perception, you will see there is a certain geometry to everything. The way planets move, the way seasons change, the way life itself evolves, all follow a certain rhythm and pattern. Your birth too, the exact moment and date when you entered this world, is part of that larger cosmic geometry. But to believe that this cosmic alignment binds you forever is to miss the point of human potential. You are born into a certain configuration because at some level of your existence you made it so. Karma is not a punishment or reward system administered by some external force. It is simply the natural law of cause and effect playing out with mathematical precision. Your previous actions, thoughts, and emotions have designed the circumstances of your current birth. But what you do with this opportunity is entirely in your hands. The initial setup may not be yours to decide now, but the game you play is entirely yours. Every human being is given a certain set of tools, a certain starting point. Some are born into wealth, others into poverty. Some are born with robust health, others with fragile bodies. Some are born under favorable planetary alignments, others under challenging ones. But beyond these initial conditions, what determines the journey is your level of inner commitment and conscious action. It is not the cards you are dealt, but how you play them that shapes the quality of your life. Many people waste their entire lives trying to fix the external setup, wishing they were born on a different date, under a different star, into a different family. But the wise ones know that the real transformation happens not by changing the setup, but by changing their way of being. A person born under the most difficult circumstances can blossom into an extraordinary being simply by the fire of his awareness and intensity. Another born with all favorable conditions may still wallow in mediocrity if he lives unconsciously. The universe does not decide your destiny in advance. It simply provides a framework within which you can create your life. Think of it like being given a certain piece of land. One person may look at the rocky soil and say it is impossible to grow anything and give up. Another may look at the same soil and find ways to nurture it, to plant seeds, to patiently tend to them until a beautiful garden flourishes. The land is the same, but the consciousness and effort applied are different. Similarly, your birth date, the energetic blueprint you entered with, is simply the land you have been given. Whether you turn it into a barren wasteland or a thriving oasis is your responsibility. You are not a passive recipient of fate. You are an active participant in the creation of your experience. Every thought you think, every word you speak, every action you take is shaping your future right now. Life is not happening to you, life is happening through you. This is why in spiritual traditions, the emphasis has always been on inner transformation. Outer circumstances can only take you so far. Real joy, real peace, real success come from within. If your inner foundations are strong, you can walk through any external challenge with grace. If your inner world is chaotic, even the most favorable circumstances will eventually turn bitter. The source of your life's sweetness lies not in the alignment of stars, but in the alignment of your own energies. When you bring awareness to every aspect of your life, you begin to consciously work with the energies you have inherited. You recognize your tendencies without being enslaved by them. You see your strengths and learn to use them wisely. You acknowledge your weaknesses and work to transform them. You stop blaming your birth, your parents, your circumstances, and instead embrace the incredible possibility of being human. Responsibility is not a burden, it is a gateway to freedom. The most profound realization is that you are a creator, not just a creature. You are capable of moving from compulsiveness to consciousness, from bondage to freedom. Your birth date may have opened a certain chapter, but you hold the pen in your hand. Each moment is an opportunity to write a new sentence, a new paragraph, a new story. Whether you write a tragedy or a triumphant epic is determined not by the stars above, but by the fire within.